That is right. Hashtag Dirty South. We are live coming to you from the Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Having a great weekend. Had a nice little 3-day weekend. Worked for it. Had to work some extra hours to get it, but I had it, and no shows. I didn't go anywhere. I don't even know if there was any shows around here this weekend. This was one of the weekends that really doesn't. Next weekend, Easter weekend, there's actually shows all over the place, different types of shows. I don't know yet if I'm going to go or not. Just kind of wait on a wait and see type of deal. How I feel, money in the coffers, things like that. I did open up some product. It's been a long time, but I bought some stuff this week, a couple of the eggs. I did buy an ornament last week, and I bought the collector's thing with all the different stuff in it. I did get the pin. I did get a it'd help if I put it over in the comments. I did get a Met pin for Francisco Lindor, and the actual collector's card in the box, which I don't have here. I do have it, but where is it? That is the question. This was the card in the collector's box. So I got Ohtani was my one card that comes that is a variant. So I'm happy to see that. No, he is right here. Speaking of, welcome to the show, Mike. What's up? Those back pages, our Mets looked pretty good today. They actually got everything a full team game today, so I was happy to see that. How you doing, Mike?
I am. I'm doing okay. I'm always working. I'm just not working.
Right, you're not at your paid job. You're at your self-employed job right now.
Always catch. Actually, right now I was listing some stuff, but right now I'm actually just putting stuff in sleeves, top loaders, and what are these things called? The Superior Fit sleeves. I use those anytime I have to put some of these thick cards in holders, since these thick top loaders are outrageously expensive now. So,
Mari, what's going on?
Some of the shit I bought like 6 months ago, and it's just been sitting in a stack. So sometimes it's time to move on, move it up.
Yeah, I got one of, I think you have a couple of them too. One of those things to help you separate your cards, and that thing has been over full for months, and I finally started getting through some of it. Took a break from last week of putting stuff on sport lots to clean up a little bit my space. I was getting a little crowded.
It's just so hard. Like, there's always, at least for me, I always have a list of like 100 things I want to do. So I'm like, oh, let me do a few of these things that's to get done. And I'm like, oh, let me clean up some of this, and let me clean up some of this. And it's a little hard to focus on one thing. So,
Eric, Justin, I hope he plays third and can hit a little bit, or second. Because that's where we're hurting. I know once we'll be a little bit better catcher, but I mean Torrens is not playing bad. But anyway, the Phillies are looking good. Oh, for the Phillies, I got you.
I mean they've been okay, but they've kind of struggled hitting the last few days.
Is Justin Crawford that smooth fielding shortstop? Is that who that is?
No, Justin Crawford is the son of Carl Crawford. He is a center fielder.
Well, yeah.
JP Crawford was a Phillies prospect, a top Phillies prospect, shortstop who they traded. At this point, probably like close to 5 years ago, and he's been pretty decent for Seattle. He's not going to be any kind of hobby darling at all, but he's like a solid major league player.
Yeah, this year has kind of been hard to find that rookie hobby guy yet.
I mean,
Uh,
James Wood's the best player. Whether he catches on in the hobby, who knows? But that guy's got unbelievable power, good eye.
yeah,
He can hit.
it's just
I'm a
it's
big
just
fan of him.
right, but he's playing on a Nationals team that doesn't get much exposure right now. They're a scrappy team. I'm going to tell people that's the team you're not going to want to play if you're playing for something at the end of the season. If you're trying to get into playoffs, if you're trying to get a spot, they were that way that last year. They're a couple of years away from really being uh, they're solid outfield, solid up the middle. They're just missing some key parts as pitchers. Um, but I think they're growing internally. Uh, my here's my first question tonight. Non card, but sports related. Are teams trying to build more from within like other sports? Me and my dad talked about this a little bit today. It seemed like a lot of teams didn't make a lot of moves in the off season. It's almost like the moves that didn't get made is what the stories are instead of the moves that got made. I mean, of course the Dodgers did some things, but everybody else kind of pull. I mean, Toronto's biggest signing was extending Vlad Guerrero. So I'm waiting to see what happens in the future with free agency and stuff because it seems like it's a young man's game right now with baseball. That's what it looks
Well,
like.
I mean, these guys are getting outrageous contracts. So,
Yeah.
like San Diego signed Merrill to what, like a 9-year deal? So they probably bought out, you know,
Yep.
bunch of years of arbitration, probably maybe a couple of years of free agency, stuff like that. That's what teams are doing. And then teams are trying to sign guys.
Yeah.
Toronto with
And then they
Guerrero.
give them
Now the
these
Cubs
long,
are talked
right.
about for Tucker, who would be one of the better free agents. So
Yeah. The Cubs are playing. They're tied 1-1 right now with the Dodgers. What's up, Paul? Mario, with the prices of contract nowadays, it is cheaper to build from. Yeah, that's kind of the thought. What's up, Bronx Boys, Aaron and Jordan? Hello, everyone. Yeah, the thought is, building from within and, because it's happened in football and they had to restructure some stuff. But, who you rather pay a young guy that you can keep under control and give him an extension or wait for one of these, big contracts on the back end especially with pitchers. It's such a gamble, but you don't want these guys want that next paycheck, and it's just really, really crazy. Yeah, I know, Jeff. It's going to be really, really upsetting with that. I don't know if they could come back, bounce back if they do.
I mean, they need to figure something out. We said this last time. We said this. The pandemic was already ridiculous. There was no reason for them to only play a 60-game season. Granted, didn't expect them to play a full season. They should have figured things out earlier than they did. That was ridiculous. And then a few years, right after that, it went to the last day. I mean, the reality is they're all making plenty of money. We all know that. It's millionaires versus billionaires. There's arguments on both sides. Historically, the owners are the biggest of assholes. That's not even arguable. And they still are. They make plenty, but there are changes. Each side needs to understand changes need to be made. It's hard to have a floor without a cap, so it works one way, but we can't do this Pittsburgh Pirate bullshit. We can't do the Marlin bullshit. We can't have these scumbag owners who are collecting outrageous amounts of revenue sharing and then they're not spending money. That is absolutely unacceptable. It's not acceptable for fan bases to know they can't compete. And even if they can compete, it's for a year or two and then it's over and they're going to lose the guys. That can't go on. I mean, I think they need to redo. There should not be this open free agency. I'm sorry, but it's outrageously unfair that the Dodgers consistently get the Ohtani, and Ohtani was already obviously here, but Yamamoto and Sasaki, and I get it. Oh, they're comfortable. Good for them. They're free agents right now, so that's it. That's got to go away. That can't be the case. Who cares if they're comfortable or not? They can stay in Japan if they're not comfortable, because the reality is you got a kid from Nebraska that gets stuck going to play in New York, and you got people who grow up in New York who have to go to California. Like, you you can't have these things where the Dodgers can sign all the free agents, can do the trades, can take on the salaries, but also get all the talent from single countries. You can't have the Otani deal, which is kind of a joke. It's not against the rules or anything, but they can stay that much under the luxury tax by paying him virtually nothing. And I get it. It works perfectly for him. He'll get the money in the future. And obviously the most of the money he makes, he's getting, from two countries worth of
merch,
merchandising deals and all that. Like, he makes an outrageous amount of money, and he completely deserves it. I have nothing against that. But obviously there's something really problematic in the sport. So, like, they obviously have to figure that out. The players union's not going to be pro cap, of course, and they want the Dodgers to spend that much money. That way the players get that money. But the reality is the players, and yes, there's plenty of players who don't end up making that much and obviously have short careers, and you want to look out for them in terms of medical treatment and all that. But the reality is there's so many players that are overpaid that do not earn their contracts. And the reality is the risk is generally on the owners. I mean, the owners, listen, you just need the rich billionaires to get things going. A lot of people are anti that, but most people are getting paid by people who are trying to make money, and they're building a business, and they're taking the risk. If the place you work at, Scott, has an issue and the place burns down, and obviously, God forbid, no one's hurt, like, I don't think you're taking out of your pocket to rebuild it, of course. And same thing with the with like baseball stuff. Like, if you sign a loser like Anthony Rendon, who, one, has some bad luck and gets injured and you get nothing out of, and two, just acts like a jackass and alienates the fan base and probably hurts merch, and doesn't seem to have that much of a desire to even play baseball. That's just an outsider looking in. Anthony Rendon ain't giving up that $150 million, and there's no one on the Angels or no one in the Players Association says, you know what, we'll reimburse the Angels. You can spend that money on someone else. So it's just a big mess. Both sides need to look in the mirror and say, shit, we're doing pretty damn good. Taijuan Walker, who's had 2 good starts this year, dude's making $75 million to have a 7 ERA in his Phillies career. I mean, I think he's doing all right.
Right. Well,
sorry for all that tangent. You got me going. I said to myself, I wasn't going to do this. I said I wasn't going to do this.
You had a couple of weeks to hold up, to prepare for this night. I kept this up because I wanted to address this, and because of that year of no minor league baseball, that next year kind of did, like, you could see the difference in the players that next year. It almost took those minor leaguers that came up that next year 2 years to really show themselves. That was the only thing, and I even said it then. And I mean, I say it now. That's a huge jump from the minors to the majors. The pitching is because if you're a great pitcher, you're going to be in the majors. So you're not facing the elite pitchers in the minors. So that's why,
No, I was just going to say, plus you need it. You need those repetitions. You can go hit in the batting cage or hit with, your private hitting coach all you want. Not facing that live in-game stuff is going to hurt.
Right. And I mean, and I think a lot of people are like, oh, these, that year, I think, but this year I know we've been so, blessed or really fortunate over the last few years to have such a great rookie class, and not just in baseball. This is going on across all sports, because I mean, these guys and gals play all the time. They have personal trainers, travel, so it's really become a young person sports all the way around. the only thing that helps with age is experience. We're like anything. Um, but there's the health and all these guys. They're just ready to play at a younger age.
I found another contract thief here putting cards in holders, and I came across a Jake Arrieta card.
Ooh.
It should be a warrant out for his arrest, at least in Philadelphia. I mean, let's see. He made $75 million and he won 22 games. Won 22 games for $75 million and had an ERA of about 4.6. But, the players feel like, they deserve more. Which
Right.
I'm not saying, obviously, as money and inflation and all that stuff goes up, and as the owners make more money, absolutely it should be distributed to the players. They are the product, but I don't like hearing it from either side. That is one of those subjects that is very, very frustrating when it comes up. You got these bums like Tony Clark. You got that dope commissioner. You got Andrew Miller. Like, you feel like listening to Andrew Miller. I can't stand listening to him.
No.
Even Max Scherzer. It's like, dude, shut the hell up, dude. You're getting paid by like 4 teams. You've had a great career. You're a Hall of Famer, and you've made a shit ton of money.
Well, the Mets are done with him and Verlander, so that's a good thing. So, I'm happy with that. But ego keeps a lot of these guys around longer than they remember when they think they got another year in them. I just when it's time to move on, it's time to move on.
And if these guys miss a year too, it will hurt the overall career numbers a little bit too, because obviously it's nothing in comparison to the guys missing all that time in the war, but obviously a lot of players missed a big portion of that season in 2020, and then you have a couple injury riddled years. The time ticks by pretty quickly.
So in sports this past week, we had a great record breaking achievement. It's in the 4th or 5th sport in our country, but it has still collected a lot of hardcore fans for this, and that's hockey. So Ovechkin he breaks Gretzky's record, and he's now he just broke another record of being 35 plus and having more 30 plus goal years. He is just amazing. He's a grade 8. But in any sport, when somebody breaks their record like that, we've already know that he's sold some big cards of his got sold this year. I'm wondering if, like, with this being brought in the media, maybe more in a spotlight, are we going to see a little bit, maybe more hockey at some shows? Or, there was a little bit of hockey when I was at Philly. I thought it would have been more being northern. But I'm kind of wondering. I know the cards are hot for him right now, but in your, you've been doing this a long time. You've been selling a long time. You and your dad. What is, when somebody breaks a record like that, it's just common for that card or the cards just to go nuts. Yeah, I kind of feel that way too, Eric. You kind of busted my ending. Those cards usually go up, but I've been looking at his prices, and Ovechkin for hockey is a more expensive player. All of his cards, like especially inserts and stuff. But I haven't seen that much of craziness going now. His rookies is crazy, but some of the newer rookies are crazy too. But in other sports, if we would have saw, somebody break a scoring record in football or basketball, that would be all about the hobby right now, wouldn't it? But in hockey, it's kind of,
I feel like hockey was a lot more popular when I was younger. Maybe it's just because I paid more attention to it. Also, the Flyers are not very good. They haven't been for a while. They're kind of dead around here right now. The Phillies obviously have had a lot of postseason runs in recent years, and then they have the star power with guys like Bryce Harper and some of the other big contract guys. And then, of course, the Eagles winning the Super Bowl this year, winning about 7, whatever it was years ago. It being a football town as well, baseball, football, like are by far the two most popular sports in this town right now. The Sixers, I think people are over them. I think people kind of are tired of that whole situation. And the Flyers, like I've never seen them in my lifetime be so irrelevant in this city. So I don't know
Right.
if that's just the Flyers not being good type of thing, or if that's kind of the way hockey's feeling as a whole right now. Obviously, I know there's some hockey cities and hockey areas that are real big and some teams that were good, but it also feels to me like the teams, and again, I don't pay strong attention to hockey, but
Right.
it feels like a lot of the really good teams in recent years have been in non-hockey cities, if that makes sense. A lot of Tampa Bay and like some of those down southern teams, the Florida
Raleigh,
Panthers, and it's like I don't know what the state of hockey is down in Florida, but I know they sure as shit don't care about baseball, so I can't imagine they're that big into hockey either.
Well, what Tampa plays are sold out, so it's like that here to Carolina Hurricane games.
Sold out is one thing, but if 90% of the fan base is at that arena and 20,000 people,
and we're going to get back to some stuff here in a minute. We'll circle back around. So, Eric, there's like pages put on there. 90s hockey was the best. 93 to me in my lifetime was kind of like the pinnacle. Then they went on strike, and it was hard for them to come back off a strike. They had to beg, borrow, and plead to get on TV. Now, and that's another thing, like national television in the United States. I don't even know, like they're on ESPN Plus. I don't even know if ESPN like shows a regular game. I know NBC was for a little bit, but I just don't know. I don't know where the playoffs are even. I don't even know what channels the playoffs are on or what. So,
the only hockey game I think I watched last year was did the Stanley Cup went 7 games, right?
Yes, I think it did.
And I think I watched Game 7. That was the only game I really watched for the most part.
Right. So we'll get back. So we're talking about Toronto or Tampa Bay in their. So Tampa Bay baseball is playing in a minor league stadium, and they're having bigger crowds than they did at their regular, at their regular stadium. So that's kind of funny in itself. But I'm telling you, it's about location. That's a big thing, and also just because I watched 3 games in Oakland this week, and just having the grass and most minor league ballparks are they're not, they're more, hey, what's up, Clay? Friendly confines. You're in just a very, and it's just nicer. You feel more comfortable. It's not a big area. Yeah, Dave, that's true. Yes, I don't know. I know up there it's still, the king of sports is hockey in Canada and a lot of Midwestern northern states as well. I have not seen one baseball game this year. Aren't there no free games on TV? I got every sport but baseball. No, there's free games. ESPN right now. And I don't know if you have cable. I have.
It's on Fox. They've had Fox games.
Fox.
Don't they do that in the afternoon?
TBS has it on Tuesday night. TBS has got a weekend game now. But ESPN's only got
just Sunday stream night. Pluto TV. You can watch old games. The other day I put that on the one day, and it had like 1988 World Series on or something. I watched a little bit of that.
Right. So my next question tonight, and I brought this up yesterday. I have not. Because I like to run things through my mind, think about things, and now we're going to talk about cards. And the thing now is, especially in our little friend group, we talk about it, and outside as well. This whole flipping to buying and selling and stuff. And my question, and vintage guys get mad at, or not mad, but don't understand the new guys and all that. I don't understand the pricing either of the new stuff. I'm just a collector. and a seller. I don't try to put my I don't like to pigeonhole myself, but you know, these guys that are selling, flipping, or whatever, these newer cards, it seems the prices go up very fast. And to do that in like vintage cards, I would love to know, like, when you're buying vintage, you have to almost buy in bulk to get any type of pricing to make it worth your while to resell. I'm going to use a resell term for heaven's sake. Because if you start going out and just buying singles and all this stuff, I like, if I go to a show next weekend and I get a Hank Aaron, any Hank Aaron, and I buy it at comps, how long do I hold on to that card for it to be an investment and make money on it? I'm kind of going through that in my mind. A lot of these guys are selling vintage cards now that we know. And I don't know if they're making money off of it. What's the return? Is it just to get cards, you're tired of that card or don't need that card and go into something else? I mean, you trying to get what I'm saying is, like, if you buy Andrew Jones, somebody asked about Andrew Jones, the minor leaguer, not the Drew Jones. Somebody has a nice auto saying it was, on the cover of SGC website. And, he got hurt and now he's getting his way back into being talked about again. How that card might go up if the talk gets louder and louder, or he becomes a top 5 prospect, or he makes a little bit of, but Andrew Jones, his daddy's card, his rookie card ain't doing nothing. If you go way back, to 50s, 60s pre-war, you're already paying into that card pretty much. My question is, it's like, how do you make money off of vintage cards without waiting forever? Or somebody getting them when you die and they didn't put anything into it, so it's 100% profit. How do you do it? I know you buy some vintage and sell. I'm glad you came on. So tell me what your thought is on that, Mike.
I mean, obviously for a while things were just rising and rising and rising. Pandemic times were a little easier for people who were doing vintage. I didn't go crazy with like buying vintage of soft shit. I didn't really take advantage of the 2020 boom. I was too busy with other stuff. But I mean, I guess it just depends. You need to get stuff at the right price. You need to have different places you can find stuff. I think it's a little difficult to go to a card show and buy a common vintage card and be able to do a whole lot with it. But yeah, if you're buying big lots, like if you have the money to put out, and you can buy a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $6,000, $7,000 lot, then you can break it down. But again, it's going to take a lot of time and effort to do that, and you're going to tie up an awful lot of money. And it depends what you're doing too. Obviously, there's always those demands for Mickey Mantles and certain stuff, and then there's the vintage players who are great and who are Hall of Famers who just don't garner as much attention for one reason or another. And in terms of pre-war, I mean, forget it. That stuff's just so, you got to be damn lucky to have an opportunity to buy that. And if you're collecting it, certain cards you're going to only see once every 5 years. So,
right. And that's
the type of thing. Like, listen, I have some Phillies cards that I have no interest and no desire to list. But if for some reason I did list, I would jack them up from what I paid, because it's like, well, someone might take them and someone might not. Like, and it'd be one of those situations I don't really care, but there ain't no competition if there's only 3 in the world and one hasn't been sold in years. It just depends.
Yeah, I know this isn't a hot topic or a hot take or anything. I just was like wondering the other day, because we have Strongsville going on this weekend, and this right here. Let me just touch on this. So buy raw, cheap, grade PSA, and hope it gets a great value. Well, you don't want to make it too great because then you're going to have to pay more to grade it, or they're going to keep your card, and then be happy that you're paying more to grade it because some reason PSA thinks they should get a chunk of your money for grading that makes no sense to me. But anyway, I talked some on Saturday. We talk more about that tonight, of course. But I was just wondering, like, with what goes on in the hobby, and everybody's like, oh, buy vintage, it's safe. But that's also the issue with vintage, right? If you are out here working, grinding, trying to make, trying to do this as a living or a side hustle, safe might not be the best bet. And, you're going to take your lumps buying newer stuff, modern or closer to modern. But I bet you it's like Dave said about buying something raw. I bet you a lot easier to find that Pujols that I think Jeff put up here, some Pujols or Ichiros raw and get nose graded and flipping them than you would raw vintage. Because most of that's either graded or it's a reason why it's graded. But you do see it a lot out. When I was at the Philly show, when I was here at the local shows, there's a lot more. I think people are holding back from getting graded. So, let's say they've been doing that way since '91. You might not be able to afford to keep it. Let's see. Think about vintage. Some of that stuff doesn't sell quick. Been watching certain cards on eBay for months that comps say is a very fair deal. Upcharge is good. I don't see how that even is. I don't even know how that's even a thing, really, Eric. And I would love to have that discussion with you in a couple of months. That could be our yearly debate at the show. But I don't see how that is. But in my other hobby, sellers overpay and try fleecing online. That's true, Sadler. It's really bad in the video game world. Local shows by me, the smart guys are doing value boxes and making money that way. Yeah, and that's been my thing. So I've been buying retail here lately, and I'm telling you, in flagship, it's a great bargain. It is. You get more color. If you could have got your hands on their celebration boxes, I would have told you to buy a case of those. That would have been my one thing for this year.
I didn't. I opened one on camera, and then I had my assistant open a few others, probably 5 or 6 of those, and got the same number of golden mirror image variation super short prints out of 6 celebration boxes as I did out of 3 cases of jumbos.
So what I was getting to was like I had a nice insert or color in every pack. And oh my gosh, it felt like I got the same amount of packs. It might be a little shorter than a hobby box, but I only paid $53. And you had the same chances of getting an auto that you did in a hobby box. Like, what? I didn't understand it. And I felt like the celebration inserts were kind of cool. I bought the Easter tents and is it nice if it is in every pack? I think it is. It makes it more entertaining. If you have one gold numbered to now I only got I got one gold that was numbered to 2025, and I think I opened 2 Easter tins, two Easter tins, and I got one gold out of that one, I believe. And plus you get some inserts and color and I used to This was the first stuff I've opened, Eric, since the National last year. And the only reason I kind of broke last week, I got a tin of the holiday ornament, and I felt like that. I was like, wow, this was worth my $15. And then I got, or $25, whatever it was. And then I got the celebration for 53. And I felt like for that money, I got my entertainment value out of it. And it gave me a perspective to actually talk on this year's cards. I didn't buy any of last year's cards. Only thing I bought last year at the National were boxes of Star Wars. And I plan on probably, if they're doing a Star Wars giveaway at the Tops, I'll probably go in the first night and buy a case of something and just get those and be happy. So yeah, but that was my only thought. I kind of was thinking that this week and wanted to throw that out there just to see, because somebody's got to sell the cards. Somebody's got to buy the cards at the end of the day. And we're seeing at shows more and more younger people flipping vintage. And it is it's hard. It's a grind. You probably have to sell more vintage than you do newer modern stuff. Because usually a lot of that modern stuff you get ungraded, then you grade it. Then, you can buy it from somebody ungraded, and that's how it all starts. To be a car seller, you have to do and respect the work. Yes. And you should have a respect for people that are buying from you, which I find a lot of sellers don't or are indifferent to, especially the guys that have been around and are set in their ways. But I noticed at the Philly show, there was more younger sellers there. The older sellers, I think they're starting to stop doing the hustle. They're aging out. And the younger guys, it's going to be like everything else we've been talking about. It's going to be younger guys that could do that weekly hustle, grind every day on the internet, trying to find those cards to keep going.
Yeah, it takes effort to buy stuff. I mean, you can get lucky all you want. Everyone will fall into a deal from time to time, but like if you're really trying to build up inventory, you gotta hustle around. There's so many ways to do it. You can follow the Facebook Marketplace stuff. You could go to garage sales or yard sales. You can go to flea markets. I don't know how auction houses are around a lot of the country. Here in the Northeast Philadelphia area, there's a lot of vintage auction houses. And, sometimes you're going to run into sports cards. Sometimes you're not. Obviously, if you want to buy big lots, pricey lots, you can follow, the big auction houses that we know online that sell sports stuff. And then you have the eBay stuff. You have the people who sit on ComC all day. People make a mistake. Boom, they buy the card. They buy it for $3. They list it for $15. There's people who do that all day. So there's a lot to do, but it is time consuming. It takes effort. Yeah. It takes a lot of work. Just like anything in life, every now and then there's a few people who are born into money. Some people who fall ass backwards into $100 million, but that is not what typically happens. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of work
to
Jeff, be successful.
Jeff, talking about the grind, and I've been talking about that probably since the beginning. I've actually been in favor of these young people. I've been in favor of anybody that does this because I know it's a grind. And if they can stick it out and it's fun for them, hey, let you grind, I'll buy. I'll wait for it to fall, but please keep it in the marketplace. When it doesn't sell for you, don't stick it in your closets or stick them in somewhere and forget about them. I feel like more and more of that is happening. I feel like a lot of product is still not getting open because of pricing. A lot of people are collecting wax because of pricing instead of opening. boxes, and you know, in baseball, the stuff that's in retail is not that bad. It's affordable. It's gone up a little bit, but everything's gone up a little bit. In other sports, I don't know how people do it. It is a addiction. I don't know how people buy boxes in football or basketball. I really don't. And I thought basketball was kind of I don't like to use the word dying because it's a bad word to use in our hobby.
I just know basketball is not what it was about 4 or 5 years ago in terms of retail. That stuff is everywhere right now.
But when you go to a show or anywhere, the hobby boxes and stuff are astronomically more than any other sport. And then when they come out with a football that has one quarterback, Jesus. And I mean, baseball kind of had that with this Heritage High number because of Skeens, which I thought was ridiculous.
So Heritage High number, I did not buy any hobby at all. All I did was do blasters and I thought pretty well. Not crazy, but like out of 20 blasters, probably got 4 autographs. A lot of chromes are in that product. Decent amount of refractors. Of course, most of the refractors I got were kind of bum city, but like Heritage, like there's more value in that than you would think. I mean, I did a lot of the short prints. You get $2 a piece, stuff like that, because people are building their sets. The biggest problem with that product is you got those big rookies, and then the other cards, for the most part, are not great. You don't have a lot of star power.
There you go, Henry. Some NBA fire for you. WNBA fire. Which that draft is tomorrow night. So
can't wait to tune in.
I will be, because I want to see.
Paige. Can't name one player in that draft.
Paige
Educate me.
Huh?
Sure.
She'll be the number 1 pick. But
who has the number 1 pick? What team?
The Dallas. What's the Dallas team's last name? Fire? I don't know.
How many teams are there in the WNBA? Like 15?
16, I think. They're going to add one this year.
When are they going to add Philadelphia so that way Ed will be happy finally? Because we all know at this point the WNBA is his favorite sport.
They used to have a Philadelphia team, just like they had one in Charlotte. Dallas Wings. Thank you, Ed. Ed, why are you not on here with us? Ed, our regional vintage hater, is on. And I want to say I've been enjoying some. Holy shit! Michael Bush just launched one. I think it's his second one tonight for the Cubs. But anyway, I think Strongsville. I'm glad those guys had a great time. I watched a couple of the Mike's videos. I think it's funny that somebody pulled out a Beckett. I actually saw it on Mike's video, somebody looking at a Beckett. Or was it? No, not Mike. Yeah, it was Mike. Not Mike. Garrett. I take it back. Garrett's video walking through the trade night. And you know, I feel like I think that was good. They said it was a lot of people there, and it don't sound like it. It sounds like it was all vintage because I didn't hear any bitching and moaning. So I'm glad for their sake. And you know, I
didn't see a lot of the videos yet. I saw the trade night video that I forget. Orlando's. And then I watched BBC's his first 2 recaps pulled it off where he had okay pickups.
Yeah. I watch Garrett because Garrett makes me laugh. And you know, picking up stuff. He gets a lot of raw stuff for autographs and stuff. I would love for him to be at the National so I could talk to him. I need to have him on because I like to pick his brain about what his thought process is right now. But
I got to get my real ID, otherwise maybe I won't make the National. It's getting a little late.
Why do you can't go out of state without it, or?
No, you can't fly.
Oh, that's right. You got to fly. That's right.
Well, I mean, I don't
yeah,
have to fly,
Roy
but
won the. He won. He got the Masters was this last one he needed, so that's good for Roy today. Yeah, and he tried to choke it. Weeksburg or Strongsville? Wrongsville. Yeah, I like to go once just to go to see it. I like to go to all shows. I like to go. Maiko's driving. Is a driver. He rides with me. I'm waiting for him to offer me to have to come pick him up again in Baltimore.
I mean, listen, if you're willing, I'm not against. But honestly, right now, I'm just worried about availability. To be honest, I probably won't be available till Wednesday morning. So
I'll be. Yeah,
I might have to.
I am thinking hard about trying to be up in Chicago on Sunday. I am hard at think because.
Or are you like Ed? I mean, Ed's gonna make an appearance at the National because the people demand it, but I'm pretty confident he's only going to Chicago for Big Chicken and WNBA. But I could
Sunday
be
night is Caitlin Clark night in Chicago. She's in Chicago Sunday.
I know Ed was disgusted with the lousy lineup at what was it, Lollapalooza or something?
Lollapalooza, yeah. We were both. I mean, it is pretty bad. It is.
Ed was so frustrated he was considering canceling going to Chicago. And, then he remembered about Big Chicken, so he was back in.
Friday night, K Martin is playing for Golden State there, so that's going to be. I think that. I don't know how many people from the show will go over to that. I think me and Ed are thinking of, or really contemplating hard about it. But something to do, and then come back for wherever the gathering is that night. But yeah, so how about this PSA and TCG? I had another thought. So the vintage guys getting mad, or other people are getting mad as well, that TCG is a lot of TCG at shows now. As much down here at my shows as 50-50. Last week it was 60-40 at a show, TCG. But are they more mad because of that, or it's holding up their cards at grading places? Because if you look at how much is getting graded now, and TCG takes longer because TCG is faked a lot more, and it's easier to fake, especially if it's like Japanese or something else. I do too, Eric. So I just like to throw. If anybody knows that question, or maybe I'll stir up something else. But
hasn't Ed stirred up enough in the community?
Yeah, you want the kids to be in the card world, and TCG is a great introduction to that. And they get used to going to shows, and then they like sports, or if they do like sports, it's just easier for them to transition over to that, to my mind. So I welcome it. If it's not a table I want to look at, it makes me easier to walk past it. That I hate to harp on it. We talked about it a couple last weeks, but you haven't been on. I mean, how do you give two shits if TCG is at a show?
Not really. I don't get Pokemon. I know Pikachu, the Charizard dude. I don't know any of the rest of their names. I think it's kind of stupid, but I have no disrespect. That's not a disrespect towards people who like it. It's just not my thing. Like, I could care less about it whatsoever. I will say I enjoy buying packs of Pokemon cards. Well, I did when they were available on the shelf for at least a little while, and giving them to my nephew and seeing his excitement, see him opening the packs and like showing his mom the cards, because they both know about them. So but now he still. I wouldn't say he likes Pokemon cards and he has a bunch. I wouldn't say he's like chasing them down all the time. I mean, I'm sure he gets packs once in a while from his parents, but like he's now developed into a tremendously large baseball fan where he's now watching baseball games every day right after school and plays baseball and all that stuff. And now he is, because he was into the Pokemon cards, he has that natural, like you said, appreciation for the baseball cards now. And he's always, asking me, oh, when's there another top set coming out? And I'll give him a full set and he can put them in binders, or sometimes he'll take them and sort them by team and all that stuff and show some of the cards and be like, oh, this guy stinks. This guy's good. And he's like, your typical kid. He obviously loves his Phillies, but he also loves some of these young, great players like Paul Skeens and Jackson Holiday and some of the exciting players, even like Randy Rosarina, who's not like he's not a huge hobby darling type of guy, but he's one of those guys that young people like because he's an exciting player. He seems to hit home runs in big moments, and of course he does his little bat flip things and all that type of stuff. So that's always fun. So as long as my only thing is, if you have TCG at a show, and it's the same thing with basketball, baseball, football, at least have some sort of order to your table. If you have a Pokemon card, a football card, then a baseball card, then some other like if it's all mixed matched and it's just causing confusion, then I think that's not great. But
now if you got Pokemon hitting a baseball,
that's the eventual crossover. Eventually that'll be what blows things up when we get the Charizard Aaron Judge card or something.
So I did see a post today of, I'm not going to name the Facebook page. Probably people can figure it out. But the person goes, I bought a box of vintage today to open. And it was a box of like 2001 Stadium Club, I think. And they were calling it vintage. And I was just like, I was ready to lose my mind.
It's shockingly 24 years old, but I don't consider it vintage whatsoever.
I was like, I mean, this is on the same one that they were happy. Never mind. I'll just keep it to myself.
It'd be fun to open for sure, but I wouldn't label it as a vintage thing.
Yeah, Pogs was the shit at one time, but Pogs went in and was fast lived. I'm not saying, but you're saying it.
The group has the most amount of uneducated human beings.
I love going on there.
Ever.
I don't know if it's people just trolling or what.
It's got to be a combo at this point, but there are a lot of...
it's hilarious, and it makes my day. Damn, Max Muncy just hit one. Cleared. Oh, no, didn't make it.
That was a shame. One of Dave's favorite players.
Yeah.
Max
Muncy. He did drive in a run, though, so it's tied up. Oh, it's my man, Conforto, scored.
Former Mets great. Hit a home run in the World Series for him, right? Back in what was that, 2015?
He got him. He helped get him there. He's like, he started that season in Single A, made it, and led off this World Series. Like, first guy to ever do that. Paul, see you later, man. Be safe. What's up, man? Jeannie. Love Conforto. Yeah, I love Conforto. I just, he goes out the Giants and Dodgers. I just can't collect him. I love keeping his Mets stuff around, though. Yeah, so, I mean, that's one of those guys. That was him, and he's like heartbroken, when he left. And Syndergaard got hurt, and DeGrom. I like to see DeGrom come back this year for Texas and do well. I don't know where Syndergaard's at.
I feel like he's sitting at home collecting unemployment is what I feel like.
Probably still got a paycheck coming in from somebody that paid him.
Always be remembered as a 2022 National League champion.
Yeah. You got anything else going on, Mike, that you want to talk about, or?
Nothing that's popping into my head. I'm constantly paying attention to the hobby. I'm constantly glancing on eBay, even if it's just at 5 in the morning, looking at all the damn emails that come in from eBay from my saved searches and going through and deleting some of them, going, I should probably go in and delete this. And obviously checking on others as they pop in. Nothing too crazy with stuff coming out right now. We're kind of still, I know Heritage is coming out soon. Um, Even though the last Heritage just came out seemingly weeks ago, but right now
Yeah,
I'm kind
and you
of
got
picking up some things here and there and just recorded and published a mail day today, and that was like 3+ weeks in the making there.
right.
So right
Yeah,
now
very.
I'm just playing catch up, cleaning up kind of my mess, and at some point in the next 20 years, I will properly organize my collection, but we'll see.
Yeah, I
Uh,
love those pics. Those pictures, those old school pictures you pick up all the time now. Um, yeah, that they're cool as shit, man. I really like those black and whites. Look like they're
yeah,
about
it's
8x10.
yeah, it's definitely fun stuff. I like picking up that stuff for sure. I mean, it's fun to hunt down some of the pre-war stuff if you have a team that was around back then. Um,
Right.
just because it's a challenge too. It's like, I mean, I love vintage, but I don't know, a lot of the shows and stuff you go to and you're like, all right, well, I see this at virtually every show. And you could, in theory, pop onto eBay and buy it just about any time. But I like it all. I truly do. I love the stuff
I
that's
do too.
coming out next week, the stuff that just came out, the stuff from my childhood. I mean, shit, how many videos do you see where someone shows off an item from 1906, a card from 1887, a West Chamberlain card, a Von Hayes card, and some brand new Phillies cards too.
Right, right. Yeah. So that was neat. That little thing that spun around. You're grift, you're grifting, and so but yeah, I really like that. I really like watching PC pickups and people,
Unlike most people, it seems like that's what gets the most clicks anymore. So if you do some video or a rant video or something, people
yeah,
do love the drama. I like seeing the cards for sure. I like hearing people's thoughts on cards as well, but I
yeah,
really
yeah,
like to see.
yeah.
I like to see
I,
what
I
people collect. Like Mangini, you're gonna click on his channel and you're gonna see him show off something either you've never seen or you haven't seen in a while, or in most cases, many people probably don't know what he's showing off or even realize how rare it is. Obviously, Eric will show off all kinds of crazy, awesome stuff. Many times, things he bought at the right time quite a while ago and he's had for a long time, since collecting is a marathon. Of course, you're doing your Wednesday editions and getting your graded stuff in. Like, I like seeing what people are picking up. And then, of course, you have Ed showing off every now and then, showing off some Nick Foles cards or some Phillies cards or WNBA cards, but at least he's got passion for the
damaged
WNBA.
PSA 10s, you
Yeah.
know.
Those were the old days of like the community though, when people would show off what they collect. And I
Yeah,
feel like that's
and that
fewer and fewer now. It's a lot
and the
of like,
love of collect. And I mean, you can buy big cards and have the same love. I mean, but I don't want people to buy them for clout and stuff. That's why I kind of get across. And
but it's
yeah,
just a lot now. It's just so many like, well, is this for that? It's a lot of it's like nonsense. It's like, well, the economy and this, like, what will tariffs do for the hobby? It's like, I don't give a shit. Just show off some stuff that you like, that you want, and stuff like that. Like, I don't need to hear your analysis that is going to change in a day or two or three anyway.
right. Yeah, and I mean that's I love the cards. I love the hobby, and last 6 years of doing this has been great for me. Meeting people, extending my hobby, showing me different ways to collect. So yeah, Dave is the king of PC, like
I
collector.
should have mentioned Dave. I've been having a lot of fun watching Dave's videos. I let him build up, and I'll watch a couple in a row. But
Right.
whether it's the top loader binders or the rookies, like seeing, especially when he shows off like the '90s football, I just sit there and watch it, or the 2000s football, and I'm just like, damn, like these guys had good careers. Some of that is just like a reminder. Obviously, if you're a big sports fan, you'll remember these guys. But like now it's what have you done for me lately? It's like, guys from 5 years ago are forgotten. Like, and then you watch something the running backs back then. And I mean that stuff, a lot of that 90s football, obviously you have certain inserts, certain parallels that are incredibly expensive, but you have a lot of rookie cards that are really good. You have a guy like Tony Gonzalez. I might as well get this in since I thought 90s football. You have Tony Gonzalez, one of the best tight ends in NFL history, by far the best tight end in Chiefs history, but he's almost forgotten because you have this bozo who's, trying to poison children by getting them to eat a combination of Twix or what is that bullshit called? All those disgusting cereals that are no good for you, and he's sitting there selling his image all the time. But, you have people like Ed who buy into it. So, you got to get it Travis Kelce.
Well, I mean, I was at work and these guys
get out some Travis Kelce hate when the opportunity.
I start bringing up classic football and they all look at me like I got a third head. And, people, I'm like, and I'm talking about, when I say classic football, I'm talking about 90s. That's actually not even classic to me. When I talk classic, I talk about like, what little bit I know about before I was born, but it's just kind of funny.
Baseball is very well respected from general baseball fans. Like, of course, and I think I mentioned it in my video today, the guys from the late 1800s, even the early 1900s, generally speaking, most people don't care about, they don't know about, they don't have the stories from relatives. There's no real audio clips, video clips. Obviously, we have some images, but these players just aren't that well known. We have a handful of guys. Cap Anson, I know Ed hates his guts. Obviously, well-known player, great player in his time. Not a perfect human being, but no one is. And then there's a handful of other guys, too, from the early years. But generally speaking, you have that golden age, the 50s guys, which are incredibly popular because that's that generation where we still have the connection to. We have the fathers or grandfathers who have talked about them.
And that's
there's video clips.
Video clips and
books. And these guys lived a little later on so that they did shows. They signed autographs. They were around for that. They had mass-produced cards. They were promoted. They were very popular. And they had less competition like we have now in terms of now you have football being so big and basketball and social media stars and UFC and all this other stuff.
Paul, I beg to differ there. I think all cards is still getting passed on to the kids. They just have more of a selection now. I don't think they're going just football or just any sport or just Pokemon or just this. Like everything else, there's a huge selection of entertainment and variety. And, yes, but when you go to shows, right now I'm watching a baseball game. There's a ton of kids in the crowd. There's still a ton of kids playing Little League Baseball. It's probably still the most played sport by children. And
baseball is still very popular. It's very, very regional in terms of the individual popularity.
Right.
Obviously, we have a handful of national stars such as Shohei Ohtani, but like in Philadelphia, the Phillies players are very, very popular, and kids still love baseball, and people go to the games. Obviously, it depends here and there in different cities, but just my point before ultimately was football is so unbelievably disrespected in terms of the history. It's just amazing how few people care. Obviously, there's some people who are football historians and such.
Basketball's probably right there with it.
No, it probably is, but at least Michael Jordan gets a little more respect than anyone pre-Tom Brady doesn't get talked about at all.
I sit at work in other places and I hear the fight between Jordan and and LeBron or Kobe, the fight. Who's the best? And I'm sitting there and I'm going, what about Oscar Robertson? What about, West? There's players that played at a different time, had the same skill, not the same skill level as today, but they were at the top of their game then. So you can't discount them. Yeah, Wilt I brought up Wilt Chamberlain. I'm like, it's just like any other sport. Yeah, maybe those guys, they play above the rim now and all this, but those guys could shoot lights out before 3-point line was there. So, I mean,
it's just to me astonishing with football, like how popular football is, how popular fantasy football is, how popular all this stuff is, and the current quarterbacks. How
Eric, if you're still here, ex Met just went yard. Pete Crow Armstrong.
How Elway, Marino, Peyton Manning, for God's sakes, even though he's in commercials all the time, how these guys just get completely forgotten, both in the hobby and in just general NFL conversation. It's what have you done for me lately type of stuff. It's crazy. It seems more extreme in football than anything else. Obviously, there's always going to be some bias towards who you've seen. The young people, I mean, I'll hear young people talk about the Phillies and they don't know as much about Mike Schmidt, but Mike Schmidt's still around enough and celebrated enough in Philadelphia that they at least understand how good he is. Meanwhile, I feel like football-wise, it's like people don't even remember who Brian Westbrook was or a lot of these other guys who are obviously great players.
And I don't know if it's because their playing time is so shorter in football than others, but yeah, they get forgotten about really quick, I mean, when I bring up Neil O'Donnell or something like that, or even with you and your Drew Bledsoe, people probably don't have a clue who you're talking about.
Like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying. I mean, it was before Brady, BB, before Brady. So, you sit there and bring up, when that I had to explain to somebody how Cleveland and the Ravens, like the Ravens gave up the Cleveland stats to go back to Cleveland. So the Ravens have their own it's like they don't even know, or the Colts moving out in the middle of the night. Bledsoe was the shit, man, before he got hurt. Oh, what's up, Big Smooth? How have we got to the part of the conversation, the impact of Strongsville show and how it relates to the hobby, vintage dollars, and it had to be pouring in by. I know people. It seems like people spend a lot of money. I can understand why they can't go to very many shows.
We thought about touching on Strongsville, but we didn't want to step on Ed's toes at all. We wanted to give him a forum.
I'm just glad that I saw everybody had a good time. Cards were bought, cards were sold. I don't know, they kept showing.
I'm sure cards were traded.
Right. I don't know what happened, how well that went, but they were acting like, trading cards vintage. It was a new thing. Really?
I mean, trade nights nowadays are kind of just putting your cards out for sale, and if you happen to maybe get lucky and two people have two comparable cards, maybe you can make a trade. But I feel like more often it's a trade of cash for cards or cards for cash.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure no Ronald McDonald rookie was traded or sold. Did anyone see repackers at Strongsville? That would be funny if they did. That would be hilarious. But yeah,
when are we getting the vintage rookie card explosion box?
Well, on that, I think we're going to call it a night. I want to appreciate and thank Mike for coming on. I thank all the people on the side. Everybody came in. And the mystery pack business. I swear that's where I'm selling most of my cards at. I'm selling hundreds of cards at a time to people, and I'm pretty sure that's who it is for what they're buying. And I'm fine. I don't give a shit. Just pay me and take them. But I want to thank everybody for coming in. Please, if you have not, subscribe, hit that like button on the way out. Anybody who watches this in archives, please leave a message. And until next time, let's go Mets, and we will.
Go Mets, go Phillies.
See ya.